There's your tour guide here. Just hopping on and ready for another end of the week session of Otaku Weekly. It's a lot to get to today. There were some exciting drops and things that are going on in the news, and of course, things that are top of mind for me. So our top 10 list is going to reflect all of that. And yeah, we'll get into all that goodness. Um, but I did want to provide uh, somewhat of a big update. Now, nothing is. My wife and I are just having a dialogue right now. We're having a dialogue, but we are both feeling like it's time to maybe, like, we have a plan, and the plan was to always end up in Japan eventually. The hope was to stay here until my son kind of graduated high school and, kind of went off to college, hopefully. And, um, you know, when he became more independent, my wife and I would kind of tie up things here, um, we had the exit plan and strategy, like this sell the house and kind of tie up all the loose ends here and move to Japan and find a house there and settle down there somewhere nice and start our retirement. But with things that are going on with my current uh, employment situation and my medical issue, we're taking a real hard look at kind of accelerating those plans. Now, for me personally, like moving to Japan um, would be not bad for me. Um, I like it out there. Um, so I'm taking steps to get some certifications here in the coming months and position myself to where if I do move to Japan, I have some uh, career opportunities there that I can take advantage of. Um, but for the most part, um, that's something we're considering. The most difficult thing with that, though, is how am I going to take my comics with me to Japan? And that's really like the thing that's holding me back. Like, if I didn't have my comics, there's not a lot of material stuff here that I would necessarily need. My wife and I are fine with just like trying to sell as much as of it as we can, but just donating, the majority of it. We do have some, you know, some projects, some kind of remodeling projects that we have to get done if we are going to eventually kind of sell and move out. But for the most part, like all the clothes and furniture and everything we kind of bought and built here, we wouldn't really take with us. We'd just take the bare kind of sentimental things and really kind of start over in Japan. But where that draws a little bit of an issue is again with my comic books, because I was just doing the math in my head. Now I have a core, like, I have the golden collection. The golden collection is the books that it's the 100 books that I consider like core, and those are the books I would just take with me, right? Um, but as you can see behind me, I've got a lot of stuff. I've got just tons of stuff. I mean, my Jim Lee collection alone is over 400 books, which is, like 3 short boxes. Um, Now, like, that's something we can do. We can do about 3 short boxes worth of comics in a suitcase. So I'm willing to like pay extra on my flight, pack a suitcase filled with short boxes, kind of put as much kind of protective wrapping or clothing around it as possible, and just take that. Pay the extra fees or duties, um, and that's the plan right now. So like 3 short boxes. I've got a backpack that can fit slabs and everything. So, but even then, it's nowhere near what I would like to. I would like to take as much of my collection as possible. But if we are moving back, if we are indeed moving back, um, you know, right now, I think my wife and I are just kind of like considering the options. I think she's also a little hesitant to fully commit to this, because once we move, there's never it's it's a one-way ticket. Not coming back here ever again. We're closing up all our accounts here, all our you know our subscriptions and whatnot. Really just ending cutting the cord to life here in the US. Um, so I look at it 2 ways, um, because if I go to Japan, there's going to be stuff to collect in Japan. I'll probably like pivot to manga or some other thing, but to be honest, there's not a lot of space in Japan first and foremost. So even if I did somehow find a channel to American comic books, it's not like I can. Not that I have a lot of space here, but it's even more limited in Japan, just because of, yeah. I mean, I would anticipate we try to get as big of a space as possible, but it's pretty cramped in Japan. So again, it's causing somewhat of a logistical nightmare. Now, there is a service where you can take up to about 10 packing boxes, and it costs $1,200 to do that. $1,200 logistics service through Yamato Shipping. And 10 boxes is more than enough to cover transporting the collection back to Japan. Obviously, I take the more like the slabs, since they're. I'd keep the slabs on me when traveling, and all the other stuff I can kind of pack in boxes. Um, Pack it kind of tight so it's not moving around, and it's rigid, and just have the logistics take care of it for me. That's $1,200. $1,200 is like a big. I mean, I could get first Supergirl with that, like a low grade copy of first Supergirl, which is like a grail book for me. So to have to like transport all that and pay that money um, just doesn't seem ideal, especially when in Japan, no one's going to really want to buy my comic books. It's like at some point, these comic books are going to go to my son. If my son's living in Japan, he's not really going to be able to sell it. I'm not going to be able to sell it online because of the shipping costs. So it really comes down to a choice of foregoing the bulk of my collection. So I built this incredible collection. I love my collection. I think my collection is hands down curated to be one of the best in the community. That's just, it's not like valuable, but it's curated to who I am and what my interests are. And right now, it's in a place where I just absolutely freaking love it. But now comes the hard part of selling it. Selling it or giving most of it away. And I am going to give what I can't sell. So here's what I'm going to attempt to do. I'm going to attempt to start really being proactive since I've got time now. My life's like for me just reducing the footprint of my collection. She's like, you're not taking that with you. You got to just take, what you can carry. Again, the suitcase, 3 long boxes, and what I can carry on my back. Essentially, what we're taking back. All these figures and stuff that I have kind of need to be sold. And so we're going to use this channel part of this time to kind of advertise things. I'm going to try to sell things locally because I don't want to deal with shipping and all that. I am going to take some of the, maybe prepare like a long box of like keys and books and try to sell it somewhere local, shop it around, or maybe the bulk of my collection and just shop it around Facebook Marketplace or somewhere local. See if there are any collectors or buyers out there who just buy the bulk at the price I want. Now, I'm not going to like obviously try to sell everything at face value, but I'm also not going to just give it away, right? So if there's a buyer out there likes what I have and feels like they again want to take advantage of my situation, we'll see where that leads. So right now I need to figure out exactly what books I'm taking. And I'm going to have to break up runs. I'm going to have to part with a lot of books I don't want to part with. But the exercise is, again, I've got my list of 100 golden books that will keep. But for the most part, everything else is pretty much, unfortunately, it comes down to like, do I want to give away my Jim Lee books? Or do I want to just give away the Superman books I've compiled? All of the Marvel and all that stuff, that's out the door. I can't even, it's right now between like Superman stuff My Neil Adams collection, Superman stuff, Jim Lee stuff. That's the stuff that's kind of grown to the point where I can't take it all. And that's where I'm having the toughest time um, coming to terms with what goes and what stays. So right now it's I'm kind of bummed out actually if we do move forward with this process, having to say having to sell my collection, say goodbye to my collection, and just see the books. At least, what my goal is to have the books end up with a collector. That's the ideal situation. So I am probably going to reach out to Josh, give him first dibs on what he'd like to take. Hopefully, he takes just like a short box of stuff that, kind of return the favor, but let him take some stuff. I'm going to send some stuff to Fanboy, um, Nama Young, you know, uh, I would send Jeff stuff, but I don't have anything he likes unless he wants some of my Superman stuff. I figure Fanboy, you're probably gonna get the bulk of that. Um, we'll see, and I'm gonna just try to sell off some of the more valuable stuff that I don't want. Um, I guess we'll start with. Well, no, I don't want to. I don't want to take up time going through books and trying to. We'll do a separate uh, live sale or claim sale for that. Figure that might be a good way to do it. At least some of the bigger books. Gonna see, kind of look at my packing stuff and see what we can potentially ship out. Um, so we'll do a claim sale around the bigger books, start there, and work our way down. So yeah, getting back to the top 10. This week's top 10 is a little bit bittersweet because, again, we haven't made a decision. I don't want to make it sound like, yeah, I'm liquidating the collection and heading back to Japan and all that. No, no, no. It's still months, if not like a year out. Um, but, I think the fact that we've discussed it and we kind of are in agreement on maybe it's time to make the move. So just stay tuned. It's kind of it's something where it's in the back of our heads and we're kind of making all the little steps. What's up, Tyler? How you doing, man? So we're making all the little steps to, again, kind of transition back to Japan. And in the meantime, I'm not going to pick up any more comic books. And yeah, sorry, man. You're getting right in the middle of this. We're thinking of moving to Japan. And so moving, like, kind of selling the house, closing the chapter on our life here and moving back to Japan because by our calculations, and this is more economic than anything else, you know, my wife can make a certain my wife so right now I'm just working, my wife's taking care of my kid. So we're kind of getting by on one income, and we've been doing fine. But it's just getting to a point where like um, unless I can really get and generate more income, um, we have to look at other options. And if we do go back to Japan, my wife will be able to work full time. I'll be working full time. Um, and we feel like, we'll have a good enough work life balance where we'll both still be able to provide for Leo and have time to spend with him on the weekends and all that. So, yeah, I mean, it'll just make more economic sense for our retirement to transition back. Yeah. Yeah, that's part of it too. Our family's back there. We got a community there that I have friends there as well. It's not like I'm going back to like ground zero. Actually, I have more friends in Japan than I do here. Um, Oddly enough. Not to say I don't have friends here, but the friends I have here are, some of them are kind of we met through, family stuff, and then other friends are just like different life stages and stuff. It's just a weird mix. Um, but my friends in Japan are the ones that I used to like kind of hang out with and do things when I was working out there. And the funny thing is, like, I'm at a different life stage as they are now because we are used to be in the same kind of boat. But now when I went back this summer, it's like they're all still kind of in that, like nobody's really kind of started a family or done anything like that, and I'm the one who has. Um, it's weird to. It just felt like I was time warping back to hanging out with them. I mean, obviously things are different there. They don't hang out as much as they used to. They complain about that, but everybody's kind of has different priorities and things now. But just it's not like I have to see them every day. As long as we're getting together once in a while, it should be good. But yeah, there's a lot of variables there moving back. There's a lot of variables here with just it's a transition, right? I mean, I'm going to start with some remodeling projects here, get the house ready for sale. I wish I could say that was primarily the reason we're no, but it is like an economic thing. Um, the whole political craziness that's going on. Um, that's a part of it. I can't say it's not. Um, but I think whether it was Biden or Trump, it just we were kind of like, it was an experiment. Let's try this out and let's see as how far as we can go. And now it's getting to a point where like you kind of gotta maybe tap out and look at other options. So for the time being, yeah, I'm busy doing a lot of preparing a lot of personal stuff. We're we got a lot of stuff to do with the house before it's ready, but I know once we do put the house on the market, it will go. Whether we get the price that we want or we don't, we'll get a lot of offers because we're in a very, very competitive area where people want to kind of live and move to. So yeah, in terms of selling, we're not that worried. I'm kind of hoping we sell maybe towards the fall because I think that's when maybe hopefully mortgage rates will start to see a dip, and of course with more demand, when people are actively looking to get into a new home, we'll have we'll get a little bit, um, we'll have more offers. We'll be able to sell it at a more competitive price, but we'll have to see. The fortunate thing is we built a lot of equity into this home, in a relatively short amount of time. So that's the good thing. The you know that's the good thing. So it's like when we sell the house, we'll have a good chunk of change to get, um, pretty nice. Nothing in Tokyo, obviously, but you know, definitely houses in my wife's hometown area. That region is it's still, you know, relatively cheap, for houses there. So it's a lot to, kind of think about and deal with right now, especially with my medical issue, which that's another concern. Like, how long I'll have to maintain these treatments is it's ongoing. And at this point, I'm just thinking, man, I'm just gonna have to live with back pain for the rest of my life. It's just not. Um, the issue is like you know, I think I shared this with most of you. When I got in the car accident, um, I had spinal fixation surgery back in. This was like almost 20 years ago, 20, well, 15 years ago, and I made a full recovery from that surgery. Did a lot of physical therapy and just, it just took a lot of time, about a year and a half, to just get comfortable with these rods in my back. And once I made the recovery, I mean, outside of like really strenuous stuff, I could play tennis, I could play golf, I could, like, there was good, like, a range of motion in my back and all that. But with the accident, like now it's like that this area, the lower back, just it just hurts, and there's nothing I can really do outside of just kind of lying down all the time. Having to sit, drive, and do all that stuff, it just takes such a toll on my back. So it's just one of those things, like I feel great in the morning, and then right around this time it just gets to be an issue. So there's just a lot of factors that are going into this potential decision here to transition back. And right now there's just a lot of variables, and we're just kind of taking things step by step, and weighing options, and kind of making the preparations. And in the meantime, obviously I'm trying to uh, find a potentially a different role, one where I can kind of work without straining myself physically, and also have more income coming in. So Um, you know, it's just if that latter thing happens, this we can kind of put off the plans to move back, but we'll just see. It's just one of those things that. Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, just a lot to deal with right now, and we're just trying to figure out what's going to work best. And yeah, I mean, my wife's putting a lot of thought into it as well, so we're kind of making preparations just as like but it feels like, yeah, as we're talking about it and preparing for it, it's just kind of like, let's just do it. And my wife, I think, is looking forward to going back. So, I mean, I'm fine with it. If that's really truly what she wants, I'm fine with it. I mean, I think part of her wants to stay here as well, just for my son's sake. Like, we kind of have this like, will our son have a better life here or a better life there? And that's the thing we can't really land on. There's so many good things here. He's got a great school right now. He's got a great community of people that he's thriving in. He's thriving in where he's at, and we see it. And kind of taking him away from that seems like my wife doesn't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So that's the thing that's like you know, kind of arresting us here. Um, and ultimately, I think that's the thing that's going to just maybe win out. But the other side is if we do move back, we potentially give him. So here are the downsides of moving back. And these are my concerns. Historically, Japan and Korea, I'm Korean, my wife's Japanese. Historically, Japan and Korea do not have good relations. There's a lot of nationalism on both sides, a lot of racism toward, the two countries, each other. And more so on the Korean side because Koreans were essentially colonized by the Japanese. They just took over the country and made Koreans, tried to assimilate Koreans to speak Japanese, read Japanese, change their names to Japanese names, and just like culturally assimilate Korea. There were attempts previous to the industrial age, but Koreans fought and defended. Japanese came in and they militarily took over, but eventually they couldn't sustain a military campaign and eventually got beat back out of the peninsula. And that history, both countries just really understand that history, and then the modern colonial history, and all the, I prefer the term sex slaves. Japan had recruited women to be sex slaves for their imperial army. But people will say comfort women, whatever you prefer to call them. That history is there. Japan tries to deny that. So there's a lot of there's there's reasons there that animus exists. Um, so Leo being Korean, Japanese American here in America, he's kind of shielded from all that. Doesn't have to really have to deal with it. But a lot of Korean Japanese in Japan, they have to hide their identity. They have Japanese names. You really can't tell they're Korean based on their appearance. And unless you look at like a family registry, you have no way of knowing that they're Korean. They have Korean ancestry. Um, and that kind of having to hide, it's kind of like, not being able to be yourself in your own country, right? It's like having to hide yourself from people you work with, the so-called friends that you have and all that. It's just it's like Superman. It's like you have to keep your inner circle, you know, tight. Like you can be open and kind of open up to who you truly are to your inner circle, but the rest of the people that you meet and kind of work with, you, if they're not cool with that, then you kind of keep it secret, right? So that's the thing I want to avoid for my boy, for him to have to like not use my his family name, his surname, in Japan, have to hide his Korean identity, um, which he kind of does here, but not really. Like he's accepted as like Japanese in his school, culturally being Japanese, but his name's Leo Kim, so everybody knows he's half Korean, right? But in Japan, he doesn't have that kind of acceptance, and yeah, having a last name like Kim will he'll face a good degree of discrimination from everyone around him. So that's the thing that's, and my wife and have talked about it, and you know, it's something he's going to have to navigate anyway if he at all ends up in Japan, whether it's professionally or you know whatever it is down the road. You'll have to deal with it. Um, the fortunate thing for him right now is Korea Japan relations have never been better than they've been recently. Um, yeah, the whole Trump politicking has brought Korea and Japan closer than ever, um, which is weird. It's a good thing. I'm not saying it's bad. It's a good thing. Culturally, Korea and Japan are so similar. I mean, it really. I mean, you have to kind of be Korean and Japanese to understand how similar our cultures are. Um, and again, maybe that's part of the reason why we're um, at odds politically. It's easy to prey on those like differences, right? Like, and that's really what nationalism is. It's just like my country is better than your country, so these are the reasons why. And politically, that's just been going on for decades. So it's nice to see again that the relations kind of improving. And yeah, you talk to most Japanese and Korean people, they they don't. I mean, they don't buy into all that stuff. It's the sort of the dumber ones, I guess the more uneducated ones that do. But the kind of the people that are professional, have a global mindset, um, They may harbor a little bit of, I guess, cultural resentment toward Japan for all the things uh, historically they've done. Um, but for the most part, they don't hold individual people accountable for that. It's more of like a political, like, you know, um, issue. So I am getting way off track. But anyway, getting back to the point is, if we do end up moving back, that's a big if, because we haven't made a decision yet. But if we do end up moving back, I have to get rid of sell off my collection, or find a way to make sure it's gets into good hands, right? So we're going to be making efforts. I think we're going to just start with getting rid of some of the books that I've been meaning to get rid of, like the overflow books, and then really kind of whittling down the collection down to, like, what do I absolutely need in Japan? Like, what do I absolutely like need to take with me to Japan and die with? That's pretty much what we have to do. So it's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to take some time. I'm going to do like a really, like, Marie Kondo kind of, like, do I love it? Do I need it? Kind of like really look at a book and be like, I don't need it. And then that goes into the discard or sell pile. And that's how we're going to do it. So a lot of weird things going on here. But back to the top 10 list. We're going to get right to the top 10. All right. Starting off at number 10. Now, it was a big, we had a pretty big content, I should say, a big week on with trailers or announcements and stuff like that. First off, we gotta start with He-Man. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. All right, so as you know, I'm Gen X. He-Man came out when I was a kid. And I grew up in a household, because we were poor. And I grew up in a household that where toys were not, it wasn't a plenty. But when I did get toys, they were really meaningful. So, like, I had a Knight Rider. It wasn't even a Knight Rider thing. It was like just a Pontiac Trans Am that was the same as the Kit 2000, but it was like a nice, like, die cast metal version, like a big one where the doors opened and all that, and I could put action figures and stuff in there. I had one of those. That was pretty cool. It was like my Knight Rider car. I had like a bunch of Transformers, a bunch of GI Joe figures. I had a few Star Wars figures, not too many. And then I had like a Superman figure that you could dress and undress. It was weird. I had a few Superman related, like, books, and like this read along books, and the diecast Supermobile. I had the action figure that came out in like the 90s as well. Just a bunch of random stuff for toys, but I never had He-Man. And it's because you have to let your parents know what you want for Christmas, or your birthday or whatever. And I never really took those opportunities to be like, I want He-Man. No, I was like, I want Transformers. I want G.I. Joe. I never went the He-Man route. But that's not to say I didn't get to play with He-Man. I'd go over to my friend's house and play with He-Man and Battle Cat and She-Ra and all the, what was it, Man at Arms and all Orko and all that. I watched the cartoons as well. Cartoons are fun. They'd have this little tip of the day or something, where like safety tip of the day, He-Man would be like, hey, don't talk to strangers or don't drink Clorox or something like that, just Prince Adam or He-Man talking to you about shit you shouldn't do as a kid. So that was always fun. But yeah, like it's kind of rolled over into my collecting. It's like I could care less about first appearance of He-Man or He-Man comics or anything like that. So this is as close as you're going to get to a He-Man comic. This is actually the issue because He-Man makes his first appearance in DC Comics Presents 47, and it's in a battle with Superman, of all things. That's his first appearance, and this is the issue that precedes that. So that's why I'm showing this off. It's a beautiful, classic key book here. The first appearance of the Global Guardians. You've got the Seraph from Israel, Green Fury, Rising Sun. How apropos for Japan. The Olympian, apropos for Greece, The Little Mermaid, and Jack o' Lantern. Yes, we're just stereotyping in countries as the global guardians. So there you go. The He-Man trailer dropped. Again, it looks like a fun movie. Me being a Gen X nostalgic geek, I wish I could say I'm crazy about He-Man. I'm not. So kind of doing a modern take on He-Man's not going to get me wanting to see any of that stuff. I can get it, man. I could care less for it. Hey, fanboy, what's up, man? Thanks for popping in. I don't know if you caught the stuff previous, but go watch the previous stuff and we'll talk about it down at a later time. I'll fill you in on some of the details later. But there you go. He-Man's in the news. We got to talk about it. Another thing that I do not really collect or care about is Invincible. And there's a lot of Invincible. I think they're ramping up for another new season. And people are going crazy for the Invincible comics and all that stuff. So, yeah, Invincible. I wish I could say I had an Invincible book in my collection. I don't. I had one, but I traded it away, and really no desire. Invincible's what? Its premise was set on to be something like a group of characters with the powers of Superman, right? So it's just like it's like taking Superman and putting him in a different set of events with a different character, right? It just, why not just like follow Superman? Why do you have to have another like parallel Superman, cartoon or comics called Invincible? It just, who cares, right? Like, just read the original thing. Jeez, like it's not rocket science. Why drink RC cola when you can have the real thing, the original Coca-Cola? It's like, who wants to drink RC cola or put in your generic cola here? Invincible is generic cola and Superman's the original Coca-Cola. So I don't have an Invincible book, but we are celebrating. We're coming off the Summer of Superman, 2025, the 25th milestone issue as well. It's a kind of a marquee year for Superman 2025. And yeah, I'm just going to give you a little flavor of the top 10 list there, a little flashing a little flavor there with this issue, wraparound cover. Go get it. You need this in your collection, obviously. That is number 9. And Action Comics 1, that was made the list 2 times in a row. Mr. P- is it really okay? You know what? I'll take your word for it. Because some of those things, yeah, like obviously some people think Pepsi's better than Coke. And yeah, like what is it? Do you like Sunkissed or do you like Fanta, Orange Fanta? Or what's the other one? There was a really popular orange soda back in the day. I forget the name. It wasn't Sunkissed. It was something else. I'm trying to remember it. Let me know what the orange soda I'm thinking of. It was came in like a black can. You remember what I'm talking about? Anyway. Yeah, so getting back to Orange Crush, that was it. No orange. Am I thinking of was that what it is? Orange Crush is definitely a good one. Yeah. Orange Crush was good. I think that's the one I'm thinking of. That came in a black can, right? Thinking so. No, it's not the Minute Maid soda, although the Minute Maid sodas aren't bad. Anyway, I do prefer Sunkissed. Sunkissed is good. What else? I'm thinking of like Sprite or 7 Up, right? Which one are you gonna take? Sprite or 7 Up? I feel like they taste the same to me at this point. I guess I'll give a little bit of an edge to Sprite because there's a little bit of like that lime flavor in Sprite, I feel like, versus 7 Up. So it does. It does. Sunkissed. There's something in like the sodas that like burn, you kind of crave more, right? So it's the acidity. The higher the acidity, the more you crave it, I guess. All right, getting back to so Action Comics number 1 uh has fallen off the list this week. It's made the previous 2 top 10 lists, but it fell off because after 2 weeks of talking about the highest selling comic book of all time, people just kind of got sick of it, including myself. And yeah, it's no longer kind of comic book relevant anymore. But I do want to kind of pose a question. Oh, is that right? All right. Never knew that. That's good to know. So don't bring Sprite to a quinceanera or anything like that. I will hold that to be. I think Koreans prefer like Fanta for orange soda. That's because that's what they drink in Asia. But yeah, Koreans have like they love Coca-Cola for sure. But they drink out of the bottles, so it's just a different. I don't think it's like corn syrup Coca-Cola. It's like actual sugar Coca-Cola. So it is a better. I think it's a better product in Asia because you're drinking out of bottles. They don't have you don't see that as much here. They get the bottled stuff. And Korea has its own branding of Coca-Cola and all that. So it's like Korean cola and Korean like 7 Up. It's weird. Um, the question I want to pose to everybody is, and I'm seeing it in my algorithm. I kind of take it with a grain of salt what I'm being presented because I have obviously a Superman centric algorithm. But what I've noticed is with the recent Action Comics sale of 15 million and the recent sale of Superman for 9 million, those two big high profile sales, I am seeing more collectors who previously didn't collect Superman or didn't mention Superman on their channels or didn't haven't had anything to do with Superman before the movie came out, before all this kind of hype and buzz around the DCU stuff. I'm seeing a lot more of these like collectors in the community now actively talking about Superman, actively buying Superman books as part of their hauls now. And I've got to ask you, have Superman books gone up in value now? And I see it. I see it. When I look at eBay, I see it. And I haven't seen it this past year at the LCS yet, but I would imagine if you're seeing it online, you're now going to probably see it at the local uh, retail level. So your comic book shops are probably have repriced the Superman books, um, are now pulling out, Superman books out of the dollar bin and putting it kind of in the regular price stuff. Um, which and again, I think there's good and bad to that because obviously if you're a Superman collector, you don't want to see higher prices. But if you have a collection, that's good as well, right? So it also presents a little bit of a challenge, right? It's not like, first of all, Superman books are plenty. There's a lot of Superman books out there, especially older books as well. Um, these are the books that are going to survive, like Silver Age, Bronze Age Superman. They're going to survive any collection because obviously someone read them and collected them, and if they took care of them, they, you know, at some point it's going to end up somewhere where you can own it. But yeah, let me know. Are you guys actively seeing price the prices for Superman books jump? And are you actively seeking Superman or collecting Superman now with all the recent, you know, kind of change in tenor toward the character, which is again glorious to see. I'm so happy that people are finally giving the Man of Steel respect, both in the hobby, just talking about the character. They're no longer just like, oh, he's boring and like, man, I prefer Batman. You're not hearing this anymore. He's really getting the respect that's due him, um, as a just the father of superheroes, right? He's sort of the grandfather of the whole lot of characters. So, with that being said, I still want to, Superman's always going to be in this list somewhere because he's there in the background lurking, right? So today he ends up as number 8 on our list. And we have this just wonderful George Lopez cover. Or not George Lopez, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez cover with Dick Giordano. on this Lex Luthor and Brainiac Superman Spectacular. So it's like a, how do you describe this? This is kind of like a um it's kind of like a DC special edition that ended up being just kind of these like one-offs. They're called dollar comics, but there's actually like a run of these, right? It's part of a ongoing, and they're kind of like, I guess, annuals. But yeah, this is 1977 Superman Spectacular, kind of a dollar 80 page one shot, but part of an ongoing. This is like an ongoing kind of theme. They're 80 pages and it's a dollar. And you get all different kinds of comics like Batman, Wonder Woman, um, DC. They're just like DC had a whole rotating list of popular titles that they did this with, and this is again from '77. Really classic stuff here from the Bronze Age. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez goodness here. I'm going to turn it around so you can really just appreciate the incredible cover art here. But yeah, this is lurking in the background. 2027, we're going to get Brainiac. We're going to get Lex back. We're going to get Superman back. So we did a Brainiac separately. We were always beaten by Superman. But together, we killed him. Congratulations, Luthor. A new super-length thriller starts. A thriller starring the world's greatest superhero. That's the thing you have to remember here. The world's greatest superhero. Don't forget that ever, please. Don't forget it. All right, we have to give some recognition here. You know, we're still the blue suit Cyclops 90s edition. James Marsden having a you know ruby visor slip up in the trailer. His ruby visor just gets, I guess, broken or whatever. All right, yeah, the first human target. That's another good one, man. I saw your recent haul video, man. The 2025. So did someone send you those books, or did you? How did someone sent you those books? Right? Did you purchase them or what? Just curious. So yeah, for sure, eBay has elevated Superman book prices for sure. I think the local LCS, you're going to see books like no one's taking all the movie hype and jacking up Superman book prices. At least, well, maybe some people are, but for the most part, even when I went to my comic book show, seeing so much good stuff for like $2-3. I'm talking like Bronze Age stuff for $2-3, Silver Age stuff for like $3-4 even still. So hopefully that continues into this year. But again, I'm not gonna be picking up books for a while until we get everything sorted out. So we'll see. But yeah, X-Men continues to be relevant here, and Cyclops, when this suit is introduced in X-Men 1, you don't see this. You see the suit in the interiors of the book, but you don't see too many cover appearances of Cyclops in his new fancy suit. I mean, what is this really? What is that? Is this some kind of utility, like shoulder utility strap thing? Um, I mean, it looks cool, but I'm just curious as to why it's there. I guess they did just had to give him something with it, like an X on it. Like he has two X's there. Is that really necessary? Um, but yeah, the blue suit still causing a hubbub. People are still excited about it. Uh, I like the little scene there with Cyclops kind of losing his visor and kind of having his eye blast, optic blast, go out of control. That was kind of cool. But yeah, again, not too many covers of Cyclops in this suit. Um, there's the issue 1, and then issue 11. He kind of shows up in it in the background. But this is really sort of the best full on look of the suit there. And this is an underappreciated book, X-Men Annual from 1991, I think, or 92. This is the first annual on volume 2. I mean, you've got a bevy of future. I shouldn't even say future. You get just a bevy of like um, some of the most talented artists in this book contributing to this book, both from writing and from a artistic standpoint. So, yeah, this issue's full of fantastic artwork, story. Uh, this is really a book everyone should have in their collection if they're X-Men collector. But at the same time, it's like a dollar bin book. I think there's probably a gajillion copies of this, or at least it feels that way. But that's it's no reason to not have it in your collection, man. This is Jim Lee goodness, cover goodness at its best. Probably one of the best cover works outside of the connecting cover in this run. I mean, X-Men 11, that's pretty cool, but this is, I think, way better cover than that. Because they're just running at you, man. They're running at you. At least if you want to collect blue suit stuff, this is probably the best blue suit cover there. So needed to show that one off as X-Men. The Cyclops trailer still reverberating in the comic book community there. That is our number 7 book as we continue on. That Neil Adams where he's flying at you on the cover. That book you have, I want it so bad. Yeah. Get it, man. I'm going to end up sending you my copy, so you'll have it soon. Don't buy it. I'll send you my copy soon. All right. We've got Doctor Doom and Magneto. Supervillain team up. Now, why is this on the list? First off, the Doomsday Avengers stuff continues to kind of build the hype with all these little teaser trailers dropping. We got Black Panther, Fantastic Four, and now we're getting reports that that we might actually be getting the Hulk, like the Savage Hulk, the one that is the Raging Hulk, right? Bruce Banner can't control his anger and turns into the Hulk. So that's kind of a thrilling thing because normally Hulk, um, it's a they had to kind of modify Hulk for the MCU, and now we're getting the old version back. So that's kind of something to look forward to. But yeah, I think Doomsday continues to kind of build momentum. It is coming out late uh, this year, so um, it won't be this summer. It'll be probably in the winter, late fall, winter when it comes out, and it should be really. I think it should be a hit. A lot of people, I would imagine, will just go see it to see it, especially if you're a comic book fan. You're not going to miss it, right? So whether it'll be good or not, that's remains to be seen. But for all intents and purposes, they've got pretty much every Marvel Hollywood character coming back to reprise his or her role in this thing. So it should be at least interesting to see how that plays out. But we get this great John Byrne Avengers bound down to Doom, and it's the first battle between Doom and Magneto, the two sort of most powerful villains in the cinematic or Marvel universe. And will we get that? Will we get Magneto versus Doom? We know Ian McDermott is going to be reprising his role as senior citizen Magneto. Both Jean-Luc Picard and Magneto are coming back in their walkers, their adult diapers, to fight off the evil that is Doom. So we have that to look forward to. It should be fun. But yeah, man, those guys they just need to retire those guys and give us a new timeline here. So that's I think what the plan is, right? The plan is to just blow all this stuff up and create a new timeline, the comic book timeline where Spider-Man and Daredevil and you know and the Man Thing, they're all in the same universe. We're not dealing with no freaking multiverse timelines anymore. Everybody's in the same universe, eating the same, crappy food, eating the drink, breathing the same crappy air. Everybody's on the same timeline. So that's the plan. And this is a number 6 book, Beauty by John Byrne here. Beautiful cover there. Beautiful book. All right. And with that being said, yeah, we got Hulk on the set of Spider-Man, or Hulk on the set of Avengers. But there's talk that Hulk may have a scene with Spider-Man, right? So I thought that rumor or that report was kind of interesting because we've never had. I guess we have seen Hulk and Spider-Man kind of share the screen, but not directly. They're not really in direct conflict. So I think that would be kind of cool, given as how they've kind of had their one-on-ones throughout the comic books here and there. Especially in the Bronze Age, right? The Bronze Age, you saw that more often, like Spider-Man engaging with Hulk on some level. But yeah, we had to pop in some McFarlane goodness here. This is his last work on ASM. Great Gray Hulk depiction there. And Spider-Man punching the Gray Hulk. That's kind of cool. That is a number 5. Number 4 on the list. This is on the list again because the Superman, Spider-Man stuff, that's just drawing a lot of hype right now. Got some great creators working on covers and working on some of the books as well. It's just fun to see a project like this come together. And yeah, Superman, Spider-Man is definitely right now, I think, the most anticipated comic book um, in recent memory. And that's great to see. Just the love for both DC and Marvel. Used to be like, you had all these Marvel kind of fanboys, just, you know, acting like Marvel, like the DC didn't exist, you know. Now you're seeing some of them acknowledge it at least. But now you have like a lot of the DC fans coming to the forefront, just being more vocal and talking about their love for DC. Um, and of course, this guy right here. But yeah, this is a great and sort of relevant book on any given week because you just have so much goodness here. You got X-Men people here. Uh, you got Spider-Man. Any given week, you're talking about Spider-Man. You got Namor, or Namor, whatever they're calling him in the MCU. I prefer Namor. Um, we've got, of course, these great characters here. We'll get to him in a minute. We'll get to him in a minute. We got the Trinity, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. We got the Hulk, right? We're just talking about the Hulk. We got Berserker Hulk coming back. There's a lot of stuff here. Thor, Shazam. I mean, that is 90s goodness right there. So I think if you're a comic book collector, man, you just got to have this book. Just got to have it, right? And it's for sale. If you want it, this is for sale. You can own it from my collection to yours. You can see the spine ticks, not near mint. So send me some offers if you want this book. It's our number 4 book. And number 3, we got a little bit of a additional Supergirl trailer, a teaser trailer. I imagine you're going to get like another kind of TV trailer for the Super Bowl. As we build up toward that, it should be maybe a little bit more of the, they'll kind of reveal more, I guess, of the movie, but we got a big reveal in this additional trailer that just dropped, I think, yesterday. But yeah, I just wanted to share this copy of Neil Adams' Supergirl here. That's Neil Adams' Supergirl right there. Kurt Swan, Neil Adams collabo right there. Do you prefer blue skirt or red skirt? I'm more of a red skirt Supergirl fan myself, but of course, blue skirt is the original costume there. So you can't go wrong either way, I feel like. I do love me Neil Adams Supergirl though. She's looking, I like how he gave her the like a hiked up skirt right there too. You know, he's not skimping on the skirt right there. It's not skimping. Giving us some good skirt action there. All right. That is our number 3 book. Classic Action Comics Supergirl. Number 373. All these classic stories here. Battle of the Super Pets, Adventure with a Legion of Superheroes, War with a Superman Emergency Squad, The Bride of Thistlepick. And that's the thing, like, yeah, you and I, we're on the same page with that. Red Skirt for sure. The there's this motif of like marrying her off, like as like this like teenage bride. What is up with that? You know, like she's still like a teenager uh, in this in these set of books, right? Or maybe she graduated from high school. I guess maybe she's like an adult now. I don't know. I mean, still continue to call her Supergirl. She's an adult, but just seems wrong to be like marrying off a teenager like to some older dimensional imp. Like, that just seems wrong right there. All right. Well, you got to get to number two on the list. Number two, flying right at you. Oh, yeah. We got confirmation of a Darth Maul animated series. This is a Dave Filoni project, and it looks really good. I mean, I saw the trailer. I'm sure if you're a Star Wars fan, you're hyped. Uh, I do kind of like the lore that they've built up around Darth Maul. Darth Maul's one of those like characters. Starts off really bad dude, but goes through a lot of trials and tribulations, and can't help but root for the guy at the end of the day. And he kind of turns into this freaking like what's the word? He's a freaking socialist. He's a freaking socialist. He becomes like this freedom fighter. You know, he's a anti-establishment. Turns on the empire, and we got the Ray Park here. Beautiful photo cover on. This is I think this is his first like cover appearance or something. There's something key about this book outside of the beautiful photo cover here. I think this is like a first appearance of a lot of characters from the Phantom Menace in comic books, and first cover appearance of Darth Maul, if I'm not correct. Or it's one of the early cover appearances of him. I think it is the first cover appearance of Darth Maul, but it's the photo cover. That's pretty cool. But anyway, it's like had this beautiful near minty copy, and I may have to sell this thing. So let me know if this is a book you may want, because it may be up for sale soon. All right, coming down to our number one book of the week, and we kind of give little hints throughout the list. He was here and there on the list, but yeah, Lobo. He is blowing up the internet. He's blowing up the comic book community. He's making the posers lose their shit over stuff they don't understand. But yeah, Lobo's at the forefront now of internet chatter, with the latest teaser trailer drop. Jason Lobo just pretty much like comes out, rides on his little, Harley. What is it? The Hellfire Harley, and has his cigar in mouth, and he's just being Lobo, right? He's just kind of creating a ruckus, looking for his bounty, looking for, he's basically cracking skulls and what's the expression? Cracking heads and taking down names or whatever. Um, this is just a cool Lobo key here. Kevin McGuire goodness, and you get to see the opposite end of it, right? The guy returns the favor. These guys kind of battle it out um, in these issues. This is actually a really good arc. Lobo just starts a fight with Guy. It's Guy versus Lobo essentially, and pretty good battle there. It's back and forth, and then yeah, things don't end well for Lobo eventually. And there you go. That's our number one book. My signed copy of Justice League International, number 18. Don't forget 19. It's really a twofer. Got to read the two books together. Can't just read one. Grazie. Thank you. All right. And that kind of does it for this session. Um, I'm having fun with the reading of the comic books. We'll be back on Monday to read the Funeral for a Friend arc. Funeral for a Friend is a pretty long, it's like 12 issues. It spans different titles. And to be honest, it really is just to kind of like introduce a lot of characters, a lot of like kind of parallel offshoot kind of storylines. Everybody kind of rallies around the death, and so you have all these like different comic books where they introduce, future plot lines, storylines, and they just want to get you all on the same page with what's going on outside of Superman stuff. It's like there are these characters too. Don't forget about these DC characters, and it's really a lot of like kind of fluff you don't need to read. I mean, there's a lot of poignant moments in it. So what my intention with Humor for a Friend is to kind of cover just the sort of the key moments in this 12 issue kind of book, and not read through the whole thing, because that's just going to be way too, you don't want to hear me read for 12 issues straight. So we're going to read the first, look at the second, kind of look at there's a key Justice League one there too, and then look at the last issue. The last issue is very important. So yeah, we'll take just chunks out of it. We'll try to cover as much of at least take a look at the artwork and the different story arcs that are developing in that 12-run cycle. But we're not, by no means are we going to read every book. So we'll zip through Funeral for a Friend, maybe spend maybe 2 weeks on it. Or we could probably do it in one session. We'll just do it in one session and then we'll get to the Reign of Superman. So yeah, it's going to be a fun Monday where I read my comics. So join us for that Monday, 9 p.m. Pacific. And I'm probably going to hop on and provide more updates regarding my situation. But for now, it's like the plan is to start liquidating stuff now. I'm just kind of selling the collection off, and we'll see how that goes. I don't want to sell the collection, but at the same time, it's like just don't want it. It's gotta go. Can't sell it. It's gotta just gonna give it to people, give it away to people. Yeah, Ron, you're gonna have to go and rewatch the video. Um, Long story short, might be moving back to Japan soon, and might have to sell off the collection. So I'll keep you updated on that. And obviously, uh, you know, the comic book community has first dibs on anything that is in my collection. So if I list something as for sale or um, kind of say, hey, this is if you want to claim this or if you want to buy it, just drop me a comment. Yeah, yeah. That we haven't made a real decision yet, but we're kind of like doing our due diligence now to see. We're making the preparations now, and when we do eventually kind of decide one way or the other, at least we'll be ready. And part of that, part of my reticence for moving back is my comic book collections. Like, what am I going to do? I'm not, like that was the first thing that popped in my head. Like, of all the things that, I mean, I could just like, I don't have the crap I have in this house. I don't really need. In fact, most of it we're fine to just kind of dump and take the bare minimum with us back and start over if we do move back. But the comic book collection, that's the thing that's like, and it's going to cost $1,200 to ship it just in boxes through like a Japanese logistics company. $1,200 if I want to take the whole collection with me, which I just thought long and hard about. But then I thought, like, $1,200. I mean, could buy a lot of books with $1,200. So it just doesn't make sense to like pour $1,200 into something that's in Japan will be kind of worthless anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna try to, if we do move, try to liquidate as much of it as I can before the actual move happens. And I'm going to try to take as much as I can with me at the same time. So it's about kind of figuring out what that is, what amount that is, and going from there. So that's what's going on. All right. Well, we'll continue to be here, and these videos will still happen moving forward. And if we do move back to Japan, we'll broadcast from Japan. It will probably be really cool, actually. I'll probably pivot to something even cooler when I'm in Japan because they have so much cool collector stuff there. Not so much American comic books, but I mean, there's enough manga goodness there to fill up whatever hole I will have from not having the comic books. So yeah, I gotta just kind of, it's another little chore I have to do, like figure out what I need to take with me to Japan, like figure out what's coming with me to Japan, like how much of it I can fit into a suitcase. I'm literally gonna put my comic books in a suitcase, like stack short boxes on top of each other and put it in a hard case, wrap it, that's literally, and just pay the fees on the airport at the airport to take an extra bag full of comic books. And those are the goodies. Those are the ones that I need to take with me. And then the rest of it, unfortunately, has to be donated, sold, or just, yeah. I mean, I'm going to probably send some to you guys for sure. Ron, Tyler, Fanboy, you guys are on my list of stuff. So at some point, I'll be sending you guys books. Yeah, I think, okay. You know, I will say this. Part of the reason I convinced my wife to move here to the US was because kind of I got kind of burnt out on Japan. I was there 2 years, 2 years that almost 3 years. I was there for 3 years, three of the best years ever in my life. Um, but once the sort of the allure and this is the thing about people, I see Americans doing these videos where they move to Japan and they're like, "Oh, I love it here." It's the the flip side of that coin is like you do it Japan loses its kind of like allure after time. And when that happens, it becomes like any other place. You're just like, and as a foreigner, if you don't have like a really good tight knit group of friends to regularly kind of hang out with and do things with, it can get rather lonely. And so I see a lot of expats um, just leave after a couple of years. They're just like, I'm done with Japan, right? And that's a real thing, just burning out after a few years. But the ones that end up staying for a long, long time, um, it gets to a point where they can't go back to the US. There's just nothing to go back to, right? It's like their life is in Japan now. They either, create a life for themselves, get married, or, it's like once that's set, it's like you can't really go back. And so I was on the cusp of like, do I just stay here, settle down, and make a life here? Unfortunately, my wife was like fine with moving here. And so we just picked up. We didn't have much stuff, but we picked up, left all our stuff there, kind of moved here and started from ground zero. And it's been great. Been what we've been here now, what, almost 9 years? It'll be like 10 years. Yeah, it'll be 9 years coming up here soon. And there's been like, ups and downs and all that, but overall it's been pretty good. Um, but I think my wife is at that point now where maybe she's getting a little burnt out on being here. She misses being in Japan. And we're really only kind of entertaining the notion of staying here because of our son, because he has such a good community, good school. He's really thriving where he is. So that's the thing that's like, like we don't want to pluck him from that and put him in. Not that Japan's foreign to him; he's comfortable there as well. But definitely, I think this is home for him. This is his base. So that's the thing. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I mean, it'll just be an ongoing conversation with my wife, but we do want to just, again, make preparations. We're not really pulling the trigger on it yet, but we are considering the exit plan right now. And should we move forward with the exit plan? Once we decide, it's like it's going to be quick. It's going to be like boom, boom, boom. We got to just shut everything off, sell everything off, and back we go. And I'm fine either way. So really, I think there's a potential for Leo to thrive there as well. Have all kinds of. He will definitely be around his family members, and he definitely will have a community there that will be just as supportive, and we'll have probably more fun over there, to be honest. Japan is just, it's a better environment for kids in a lot of ways, from a toy and entertainment standpoint. It's like um it just gets really hard in like middle school on because of the academic pressures. But you know, um, that's that's they're two different places. So wherever he ends up, he just has to adapt to his environment. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated week to week on what goes on. But for now, yeah, there's a lot of kind of uncertainty with in our household and how we're gonna navigate some stuff here moving forward. So 2026 is going to be an interesting year. Um, Economically, it just makes sense for us to move to Japan. But there's still, there's still the chance that we could stay here and kind of try to make things work. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. But I do feel like I need to just start one of the things, whether I choose to move back or not, I do need to kind of size down the collection. And it's not a thing we like to do, right? Ever. Because like I'm looking at this book right now, I'm like, do I really need this book in Japan? And I'm saying yes. But we can't, right? We can't. It's a hard decision, but I just feel like this particular set of books is not part of the core stuff. I've got 2 copies of this book. It's like a direct and a newsstand edition. Yeah, it's probably gotta go. Probably give this to one of you guys or one of the guys in my local network. But yeah, I mean, this is the stuff, like I have to go through my books and be like, is this going or not going? And just looking at this book, it's already one of those difficult things. You just kind of have to like put things in the okay kind of maybe piles, must keep piles, and must go piles. And the must keep piles, I know that's going to be like, that's just going to be like this for me, like should be in the must keep pile. But if it continues to be like everything must keep, then at some point you got to be like, you got to cut the cord with some of these books. And this signed, man, I'm just going to show it again. This signed book here is just Kevin McGuire signature newsstand Lobo Valley Gardener book. That's just I mean, what more do you want? This is me. This is me. This is my collection right here. Just a crappy position to be in, to like have to sell, or at least consider purging your collection down to just the bare minimum stuff. I may end up keeping this book just because this was my signed book from Emerald City Comic Con. So I got this book signed by the man himself, Kevin McGuire. So, I mean, it's just one of those books I'll probably end up keeping. But then, like, at the end of the day, how much of this stuff do we actually keep? And I'm looking at the top 10 list here. This is probably a book I would be happy to sell. This Neil Adams Supergirl book, I mean, come on, that's got to go to Japan with us. All this other stuff, I guess, has to go with us. The Jim Lee signed 90s book. See, it's this stuff right here. This right here is the Superman stuff that you know what I mean? It's like, this is like a book. Like, man, yeah, this has got to come back with me. But at the same time, it's like, not really. That's a crappy exercise to have to do to yourself, man. I hope none of you guys have to ever go through this. I mean, it is a common thing, right? It is something a lot of us collectors, at some point, if we have to sell the collection, or for whatever reasons, it's an exercise that I'm sure not everybody is keen on doing, but we're kind of in a place right now where we may soon be having to do that. So again, thanks for hanging out, guys. Good session. Good. We got the regulars here, but we'll be back on Monday, reading some comic books, just chilling, and provide some more updates then on if we decide to do anything. So thanks, Ron. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Otaku signing out. Peace.